Hello, gamers from around the world. This is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and we almost messed the intro up. But we did it. We did it. Welcome, guys. It's an awesome day. It's Developer Direct Day, and I cannot wait. I'm super excited. This should be one hell of a Developer Direct today. With Avowed, with Indiana Jones, with Hellblade, and Ara, and maybe Dutch a fifth game. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, let me welcome, of course, you and our awesome community. I see a lot of familiar names here already in the chat. I see a lot of hype and excitement, and that's what gaming is all about, man. Gaming is about getting as excited, and today is such a day. So welcome to you guys, and of course welcome to everyone who listens after the fact, either on YouTube here or on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, wherever you are listening. Welcome. We are going to have a special show here, Dutch, today, because not only are we co-streaming again, of course. Shout out to the chat on your channel, and we will of course live stream the entire showcase here during the podcast. In about 50 minutes the show is going to start. We're gonna turn off the overlays, we're gonna upscale the entire thing locally here, so you should get an even at least a tiny little bit improvement on the picture quality here. So you just have to stay here, watch it along with us, and then of course we will discuss everything that will be shown. Dutch, but how are you doing today, man? What is up with you?
Yeah. I mean, other than just adulting today and having a boatload of engineers around the house for different various reasons, I've been playing Crisis Core. So that's
sweet.
I'm good. It was nice. I would say it was a nice day off, but I was up crack of dawn. So the first engineer messaged saying they were going to be at the house for like anywhere between 7:30 anyway. So I didn't get a lie in.
Yeah, well, listen, I was in the office at 6, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm good otherwise. It's going to be a good day.
Sweet. All right, guys. We have lots to talk about here before the show is going to start. Again, you don't have to leave the show. We will stream it without any overlays, so you can just enjoy the entire thing. Get it a little upscaled. Don't forget to set your players to 1440. And it's gonna be one awesome day, and I cannot wait. But first, of course, we want to hear from you in the chat, and Dutch, from you. What have you been playing?
Yes. So I picked up. So other than playing Final Fantasy 16 again, which I've been continuing.
Sweet.
So I'm playing my way through Final Fantasy 16 to get that finished. I am 80% of the way through, so I haven't got too much longer left. I say too much longer. That's probably still about another 15 hours.
Okay.
Because I was playing for like 3 hours the other night, or 3.5 hours, or something like that, and yeah, I think I went up like 7%. So yeah, I've still got a fair chunk to go. But I picked up Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core on Xbox for £14 on Amazon. So I didn't pay the like 50 that is on the digital store or even on CD keys. I got it cheaper than that. And it's good so far. I've been enjoying it. I'm almost about 4 hours into it.
Nice.
Good fun combat, decent little system. Plays all right. It seems to be holding up okay compared to, obviously it released on the PSP, so it's had a reimagining for current consoles, and it looks good. It plays good. Good story. So I'm enjoying it so far.
Sounds good, man. I've been playing a lot more RoboCop. I'm just enjoying that game so much. Like I said on the last podcast, it is just one of these 80s, 90s action movies that you get to play and experience, and they've done such a wonderful job by staying true to the source material, making it fun to play, great story. I think I'm very, very close to the end. There have been a few twists in the plot, but now it feels like I'm nearing really the end, and I'm having one great time. So yeah, I honestly have only been playing that from Sunday, when our last podcast was, to today. So yeah,
Right.
and of course I record a lot of footage from it. So the guys in the chat can vote what we're gonna watch, what kind of gameplay we're gonna watch till the show starts. And RoboCop is leading. I'm leaving the poll up for another 30 seconds or so before we close, and then move over to probably, it looks like it's gonna be RoboCop what we are watching before the podcast. Before the developer direct. So good stuff here. Good stuff. Yeah, Dutch man, it's almost showtime, and we will talk about our expectations in a little bit. I wanted to talk to you about two topics beforehand, though. Real quick, we stay with Xbox news today. There's basically zero PlayStation news, but we got two things that the community talks about. And the first is, of course, Satya Nadella's comments on third-party games, and that they are going to publish more games on consoles. You have seen the discussions on Twitter, and of course, I wanted to hear your thoughts and everyone's thoughts in the chat here as well. And by the way, Prince of Persia is very close, but RoboCop wins for today, so we're gonna switch over to RoboCop gameplay. But yeah,
Okay.
let me hear your thoughts on all the comments of Satya and publishing games on other consoles and systems.
Yeah, I think it was more nuanced than that, because the question was
Yeah.
the question and the answer was specifically regarding post acquisition of ABK. We said now we have ABK, we can start to look at putting content on other platforms, and other consoles, for instance. So that to me, specifically that comment and that line of questioning, and his response, which started with ABK, and the closure of ABK, tells me specifically that they're talking about ABK content, allowing them to publish on other platforms. Because I don't think they will publish their own IP, but I think the likes of Call of Duty will remain there. There's a possibility the likes of a Spyro or a Crash might remain there, but I'm still dubious on those. But I think we'll see the likes of Blizzard stuff like Diablo stay cross-platform. I think we'll see Call of Duty stay cross-platform. And of course, Call of
they
Duty
signed the deal. They have to keep it cross-platform for at least 10 years now.
Yeah, and obviously, but then you'll also see Switch getting Call of Duty for the first time.
Yeah.
So that, it just tells me, especially the way he answered the question, specifically mentioning ABK, allowing them to be a good publisher for other platforms now, tells me that they're going to be, or at least that, I think the way he said it wasn't really very good, but being a good publisher would mean ensuring that the quality of games that go onto these other platforms, i.e. your Call of Duties or your Diablos or etc., are on par with the releases on every other platform. So it's not like they're going to be porting a terrible game for just PlayStation or Nintendo. They're going to try to be a good publisher for the titles that they now have that are going onto other platforms. That's really what I took from it, as opposed to people assuming it's going to be third party. Because if you have a look at an interview that Sony's CEO was talking about as well recently, he also mentioned Game Pass looking to go onto multiple platforms, and Sony's strategy of now porting every game that they have over to PC, mobile, and cloud where possible. So everyone has exactly the same strategy. Where possible, they will publish games on a competing platform because it's money. And I say where possible.
Yeah.
When you have a look at the likes of MLB, which we've seen come over from Sony, that is a where possible situation. That's because the licensee, MLB, wanted the game on multiple platforms. Sony naturally couldn't object, otherwise they wouldn't have the game.
Yeah, true.
So they are publishing the game on other platforms. And I see certain other scenarios for Sony, specifically for lower end ones. You could see, and I know people will mock it or laugh at it or anything like that, but you could see smaller niche titles like a Foam Stars and things like that make their way to other platforms as well. That's like a timed exclusivity with Square Enix, but the point is I think both of these platforms are going to say, right, okay, well, we're first party, single player, AAA experiences are going to remain exclusive. However, when it comes to potentially games as a service title and certain smaller second party games or certain timed exclusives, those type of things you'll see roll out to other platforms. I think that's the way they'll end up doing it. But I see that for everybody bar Nintendo. I think Nintendo is going to be the only outlier because they're not going to publish.
I mean, they don't really have like service games. The closest to it is probably Splatoon. But
yeah. I mean, as much as I'd love to see a Mario Kart go everywhere.
Yeah.
That's their service game. That's their only service game.
Then we're back to this general discussion that we had last, I think on the last podcast, on why do third party or exclusive games exist. And it is, I mean, if you look at it from Satya's point of view, obviously he's in it to make as much money as possible. And of course, with releasing those games on multiple platforms, you make a lot more money. But that goes basically almost for every game. You could release a Starfield on more platforms, you're going to make more money. You're going to release Hellblade, Avowed, Indiana Jones on multiple platforms, you would make more money. Obviously, that's probably his way of thinking about this. But then, of course, it's about like generating an incentive for your ecosystem. And we spoke about that also on the last podcast. And I stand by what I said. I believe exclusives are important for an ecosystem. They give the ecosystem identity. And Xbox has been lacking first-party support for a long time now. And they are finally at this point where they have that content and give people a reason to buy into the ecosystem, especially the console ecosystem. And that's why I stand by it. I think exclusives are important. It's important for all of them. It gives us competition. It gives us a reason to have these console ecosystems. And I think that's really important. Now, when you look at Satya's comment, obviously, he said during the trial, we do exclusives because the competitors do it. So that tells you a lot. And now if you look at the latest comments of him, obviously when he talks about publishing games, they have so many games that they already publish on multiple platforms. They have Minecraft, they obviously now they have Elder Scrolls Online, and so it's a lot of the historic games. Then they have signed deals with Call of Duty, which is also something we know. And then they have ongoing games like Diablo 4. Obviously, they're not going to take that away from PlayStation now. And it will be interesting, though, to see what are they going to do with the next Blizzard game. Let's take that as an example. We know about the survival game that is coming. I forgot the code name, the project name. But they announced that...
I know what you're talking about. I forgot the name of it as well.
Maybe someone in the chat knows. It will be interesting to see what they are going to do with that. At the same time, Xbox really needs to build this reason to get into the Xbox ecosystem with exclusives. I feel that is important because it will leave... Jess Gordon wrote a great article on Windows Central the other day about if they don't have that, there will be less incentive to buy an Xbox consoles, and the less people buy
the name would be absolutely irrelevant because
exactly
the name Xbox
and
is literally derived from DirectX being on a box.
yeah, exactly. And the point is about all of this is to have a strong, especially console, Xbox console, and because we need that competition. We see what Sony does right now. They sell you these next gen patches that should be free for remasters, with Last of Us now, and we don't want that. We want competition on the market, and Xbox is finally there to actually give proper competition, and it will be good for all players, no matter the system you're on, and so. Yeah, it will be interesting to see where they go with that. But Dutch, I need to shout.
I was going to say I want to go and kind of touch on a point before you shout out the super chats and things. You mentioned specifically, and that's a good point as well, with the trial information, them specifically stating, listen, we still do exclusives because our competitors do. And I think that's a key point. Yeah. I think as long as the competitors continue to make exclusive games for their platform that remain exclusive to their platform, Xbox will make exclusive games for their platform. I think unless that narrative changes and their competitors start to weaken that front, then they will remain creating exclusives. Yes, Absolutely. There will be certain scenarios where certain games go to other platforms, but it's going to be smaller experiences or games as a service games, or games as we know have historical legacy titles on the platforms already. Yeah. So I think that's the way it'll remain. I don't think we'll see the Blades, the Elder Scrolls, the Fallout.
They're not going to take anything away that already has been published on other platforms. It will be interesting to see what they do with the new releases. And my only problem with this right now is about the messaging, because it is they with the messaging, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. We have had the discussion when they announced Blade. Why not announce it along with platforms? I don't want to have this conversation with every game that Xbox is announcing. Is it going to be exclusive? Will it be on PlayStation? Will it be here or there? Be clear with the messaging. And of course, having a Tim Stewart, now Satya Nadella out there, kind of a little bit contradicting and putting oil into that fire that is already out there.
Too many people speaking about the same topic. They've Phil Spencer, then Matt Booty, then Sarah Bond. They're all saying one message, and then you go over to Satya Nadella and
to the Microsoft part of
and they've got a different idea, and it's like, no, you've got to, like, the messaging has to be the same on all fronts, and if you need to clear that message up, then clear it up before you start speaking about it.
So, it'll be interesting to see how this is going to continue, but today is a day to celebrate because we're going to see some awesome games later. But I need to shout out H. Julia, who just became a channel member. Thank you so much for the support. Super appreciate that. And Dutch, 33 minutes to go until the developer direct. One brief topic before we talk about our expectations. Stalker 2 just got a release date. It's scheduled now for September 5th. They originally, at the end of 2023, they scheduled it for Q1. They were very, very firm with it, where we were excited to meet Q1, and now they move it out half a year. I think if one developer deserves all the time they need, it's them. Yeah. So I don't have a problem. We're gonna have so much games to play anyway in the next couple of months. So I'm totally fine with it. I hope they take the time they need to polish it, and I just admire their dedication under all the difficult ongoing circumstances that they are in, to try to do their best and deliver a polished experience. And I can appreciate that, and I cannot wait for September 5th, man. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can't wait for it either. And to be honest, if it's just the fact that they've literally took this opportunity to take on board all the feedback, and they want it to be technically and graphically sound as possible. Yeah. Based on the feedback that yourself and Erwin and everybody who's played it from Gamescom and then in Paris and in Tokyo. Like, they've taken this game, which it was the first time showing it off in Gamescom in Germany. First time people got to play it. And then they've taken it to 4 or 5 different events worldwide for testing now. So there's a few thousand people have tried the game, they've played the game, they've provided feedback, and they've taken that feedback on board. And in order to meet the quality standards that those people have set for them, they're pushing that to an official release date now, not a quarter, an official release date, a firm one of 5th of September. And I'm happy for them. I'm glad they're able to say, right, that is more than enough time to get this polished and technically sound. So
I agree. I
can't wait. I'll be buying the game. I won't be playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah, I'll be giving away a copy here. Once it comes out on the podcast to support them. But yeah, Dutch. Excited as we are about Stalker 2 today. Yeah, it's not Stalker 2 day. Today is Developer Direct Day, man, and in about 30 minutes, it's going to go down. We know 4 games are coming. Yeah, Ara History Untold. And I don't think that this is what people are most excited about, although it looks great from the makers of Civ. But then it's Avowed, which I'm super excited about. I love Obsidian. I love high fantasy RPGs. I think Obsidian are one of the best RPG makers out there. I love the Pillar games. I love Fallout New Vegas was the best Fallout in my opinion. I absolutely loved Outer Worlds. I actually re-downloaded it on my Ellie because...
What, Indiana Jones? No, sorry, Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds, yeah. So I'm super excited about that. Hellblade 2.
Foxy?
Yeah, what?
I still need to play through the DLCs.
Oh, you have to. You definitely have to. They are both fantastic.
Yeah, I've still got the game installed. I haven't played the DLCs yet. The issue was when the DLCs released, they had an issue where you could only access them.
Yeah.
If you hadn't completed the game, so to access them, you'd have to start the game again. And I was just like, nah.
Yeah, that's a tiny bit a shit move, honestly, because you had to have. You don't have to finish the game. It's even worse because if you've actually finished the game and just saved,
which I had.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot play the DLC. You have to have a save file from before you start the final mission in the game. Yeah. Luckily, I had that, so I played both DLCs and they were both fantastic. But yeah, man, Obsidian Killer Studio. Then we have Hellblade 2, which obviously super excited. It's gonna be a technical masterpiece. It's awesome. And then we have Indiana Jones for the first time, which I at least did not expect to be at a Developer Direct in January. I thought that it's going to be a game that is going to be shown at the big showcase in June, because Todd Howard already hinted that we are gonna see it this year. Yeah. But I thought obviously Indiana Jones, that's too big for a developer a direct reveal. But no, here we are, Xbox pulling out the big guns, man. And then there is this rumor out there, Dutch, and I want to talk to you about that, and I want to hear everyone's thoughts in the chat here as well. A 5th game is apparently going to be shown. The rumor says it's going to be a smaller one, and it's not going to be a shadow drop. But what do you think here? What are we thinking?
If it's meant to be a surprise game, or a game that we haven't seen, then it can't be Towerborn.
Right, true.
So that would only leave the door open for a game like Kiln.
Yeah, the Double Fine game. Yeah.
Yeah. And it would make sense if that wasn't a shadow drop, because that could still need some time in the oven. It could be anything. Could be, like I say, we mentioned this last week. It's with we knowing it's going to be a smaller game. And I know Vinny in the chat on my end saying Scalebound, but no, Scalebound is dead. It's been set on fire. It's been buried. It's been put in a metal coffin, and it's been chained into the bottom of the ocean. That's where Scalebound is, and where it shall forever remain. But yeah, it's going to be a smaller title, but Xbox have got a number of smaller titles in the works. So I think Kiln's going to be one of the more realistic ones, because I know that's by just a handful of devs at Double Fine. It's a bit like Obsidian's Pentiment. It's their little game. It's this like little passion project that's going on internally. It's not one of their main focuses. It's just something that they've allowed them to do.
Yeah.
And anybody that was watching the Double Fine documentary not too long ago that they released, which was brilliant, by the way. Very long, but brilliant nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of making Psychonauts 2, they were also doing Psychonauts VR, and they were doing this other thing, and they were doing... So there was a lot going on. So I've no doubt that they've been cooking on a little game in the background.
Definitely. We've heard that multiple times. See, Sithlord in the chat thinks he doesn't think there will be a fifth game. I'm not sure. Usually where there's smoke, there's a fire. So
and you know where it is? It depends as well, because the term shadow drop, I think, for a lot of people is an insinuation that it's dropping same day. Now, it could be that we see one of these titles and it drops within a matter of 2 weeks. This little title. I wouldn't say that's a shadow drop, but it's definitely something that's a surprise, and that's something that's coming soon. I could see that happening. I can't, but same day, you can't set a dropping right now precedent all the time. But yeah, I think Kiln's the most realistic. But again, we don't know many others. We don't know many others outside of project names that are in the works that we could really speculate on.
That's true. See, I've seen a lot of speculations on the socials, and there are a lot of indie games that Xbox attached to Xbox. Obviously, we are still waiting for games like Flintlock and others, and I'm not really sure if the fifth game is going to be something like that, because the Developer Direct seems to be a format for Xbox Studios. So it's Xbox first-party studios. And so if we think inside that box, it could be a lot of things. Yeah, I see people in the chat say Banjo would be awesome. That would be huge.
I also had a few people that didn't quite understand why Aura was classed as first party as well.
Because it's published. It's Xbox Game Studio Publishing.
Co-developed, and the IP is owned by Microsoft.
Yeah,
it's a three-way horse. Basically, if
in that
second party is something that's been created, the term second party is being created for an exclusive IP that isn't made by an in-house developer, but is published and funded by the first-party company. So it's classed as a second party, but realistically, that is a first-party game.
But the same goes for Towerborn. Then we are back at the Stoic. Towerborn thing, Stoic.
Yeah.
Ultimate Berserk says, "What if the fifth game is the flight sim?"
No.
Well, why not? Why not? They haven't been shy in showing that off.
It's not a smaller game.
That really depends on how you look at it.
No,
I know that especially on PC, the flight sim has a big fan base.
No, I don't mean in that sense. It's just it's as a game, as a what you would be classing, what is specifically classed as a AAA game, is based on funding and the amount of people working on the IP.
Yeah, that is true, but perception. I don't think that. I would like to know from you guys in the chat. Do you consider Flight Sim to be a AAA? Because like, maybe that's just me. I feel like the interpretation of what a AAA is like the games that really set the world on fire. You know, it's the Hellblades, it's the Indiana Jones games, it's the Starfield. It's maybe it's a Forza and games like that. And I don't feel like the flight sim does the same trick, because I remember when the last flight sim came to consoles and so on, everyone booted it up because it was free in Game Pass to see how nice the graphics are, but it didn't really have a big retention rate. You know, people really, because it's not a game for everyone. Yeah, so.
It's still, but it's also done, still, like every other IP, more than 15 million people have played it.
That is true. It again, on PC, it has a big...
Yeah,
but that's really the thing. Grounded has the same amount of players, but it doesn't is not considered a AAA. So I'm not really sure if I would consider it like one of the major.
But then Forza's got less.
That's true. It's true. That's what I'm saying. It's not just player metrics numbers. It's like
no. In terms of its the technical prowess, and
absolutely, it is a technically super impressive game. I mean, the original Flight Sim, I'm still surprised that they got it to run on a console. It's very impressive.
As smooth as it does. I mean, it's an absolute juggernaut on the data. If people think Call of Duty's a data hog,
oh yeah,
Flight Sim smashes it out the water.
So, but I don't think it's gonna be Flight Sim. Maybe it is another passion project from one of the studios. I mean, Xbox has so many of them now. Who knows? It could be something we just don't know just yet. So we will find out
ran a little
very
poll
soon.
As well, by the way, on Twitter about the anticipation for most hyped that people are to see these. Now it's had just shy of 400 votes. The most anticipated is Indiana Jones with 51% of the votes. So very hyped for that. Second most is Avowed with 34%.
And then Hellblade.
Third is Hellblade with 14%. And the main reason people voted Hellblade last or second last was because they've already seen it a bunch of times. So they don't really need to see
I agree.
More.
That's very similar with
and then,
me.
Unfortunately,
I have no idea.
With 1%.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Ara, but they are not the reason for the hype of the show. Listen, it's very similar with me. Although I would say like Avowed is probably along with Fable my most anticipated right now from the Xbox Game Studios. I have already kind of seen Avowed. I know what the game is going to be. It's an Obsidian RPG. It's not super open world. It has these similar to Outer Worlds, these large areas. We know that. I've seen snippets of gameplay from it. I'm still super excited to see it. Don't get me wrong, but I've seen Avowed already. I wonder how it looks now, and can't wait. But I have no idea what indie is. And see, that's obviously the reason why I'm. If I would have to rate the game that I'm most excited about, I have no idea what indie is going to be, and of course I want to see what Machine Games is going to do with that IP. I love Indiana Jones. I actually watched the other day the Dial of what was it called? Indiana Jones, the last one.
Dial of Destiny.
Dial of Destiny again. To get myself in the mood, and I still think this movie is good. I don't get the criticism. It's an indie movie. It's a good ending.
Easy. It's what you would class as easy watching. I don't get why people hate them. Like the feel good easy watch. It might just because we're old. Might be because we're old. We love it.
maybe.
But, you know what it is? I had this weird comment on the. I want to see. Someone said I want to see something new on the same poll.
Yeah.
And we've seen all these games before. I said you haven't seen indie. No one's seen indie. His reply was, "I've watched 3 indie movies. I don't need to know more. Just tell me the release date." What? Like, how does that relate to what Machine Games can create?
So I don't know. So before the show starts in 17 minutes, Dutch, what do you think it's going to be? Third person, first person, action adventure, RPG. What do you expect?
I think they're going to flip the script for what we usually know Machine Games for, and it's going to be third person action adventure. I think it's going to be third person action adventure, and I hope it's going to be along the lines, and again, differentiate themselves for what they're good at, but along the lines of a Tomb Raider and an Uncharted.
Yeah.
Because it is, at the end of the day, the godfather of the treasure hunters.
It is.
Like, Tomb Raider and Uncharted were born out of this franchise, so kind of need to be along the same lines. But I want that Machine Game spin on it. I want that polish. I want the wackiness. I still want. I would say gore, but I don't think they'll put gore in this game.
No, I don't think
could
so.
be wrong. But yeah, it's just a third-person action adventure I'm going for.
Yeah.
With some upgradability, I can see maybe some upgradability, like you upgrade the whip to be a little bit better and get better guns and upgrade your guns, or get
Maybe.
better outfits and upgrade his hat.
Yeah, that's again the interesting thing about this, right? Machine Games, famously known for the Wolfenstein games, over-the-top action, great graphics, fun, light-hearted storytelling. That's what they are known for. And then you have Todd Howard, who just makes these massive RPGs, open worlds, Skyrim, Fallout, Starfields. That's what he is known for. And you mix those two together, and I wonder what will be the outcome. It would be, if it would be an action adventure, that would be a first for Todd Howard, But I still think I agree with you. Indiana Jones just fits in that style and type of game, like along the lines of a Tomb Raider, which is perfect for Indiana Jones. So I wonder. I still have Todd Howard's words in my head that he says it's a mix of genre and it's like unlike anything we've seen.
You know what I'm actually intrigued to know?
Yeah, please.
Is how Indy sounds. Does he sound like Harrison Ford?
It's a good question. It's a very good question.
And it's the same goes for looks. But does it? Everyone's like, does it matter? But kind of, yes, because we've all grown up to know Indy as Harrison Ford.
Yeah. It's not like with James Bond. With James Bond, we had multiple Bonds. You can look differently. You can sound differently. Yeah. How cool would it be if they got Harrison Ford to actually do the voiceovers, man? There we go. Yeah. All right, Dutch. We only have 14 minutes left. Expectations for Avowed.
Ooh. I think they've also taken in feedback. I think they've went away and polished the game up.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see a little bit more of an in-depth look into maybe some of the classes that we can play as, what certain abilities are available. I think it's... I'm really looking forward to it. Like, this is... Outside of... I would kind of go in line with the poll. Like, as much as Hellblade's my most anticipated game this year, I've seen enough of Hellblade now. I just need the release date. Of this show, I would say the one that I'm most interested in seeing and hoping for a release date next is Avowed. I want to know more about that. I want to see how they've came since the last time we've seen it in June. I want to see the improvements and a little bit more about it. Get a release date, and then Indie would be after that. As much as that's a new one,
yeah.
Avowed is my, after diving into Skyrim again recently. I really want another like fantasy RPG like that. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I can't wait.
Me too. I love high fantasy RPGs, and we mentioned it last week that it's been actually a while since we have gotten a proper AAA high fantasy RPG. And again, I mentioned it earlier. I think Obsidian are phenomenal in storytelling, in world building, and non-linear progression throughout a game. They do that just so well. So I can't wait. I think the biggest criticism about Avowed were two things. First, with the graphics, I think a lot of people expected simply more, but Obsidian never has made like these super duper graphical showcases. Don't get me wrong, Outer Worlds looked great, but it wasn't like a graphical showcase, and I didn't expect that out of Avowed. The other thing that also took me by surprise, to be honest, when I've seen Avowed, was how colorful it was, because the first original CGI trailer was very dark and gritty, and they introduced this world of Aurora as like this dark setting, and then we've seen Avowed 2 years later after the CGI trailer last year during the Xbox showcase, and it was beautiful but colorful, popping colors, and I think that surprised a few people and me too. But I didn't have a problem with it because I want Obsidian to do an Obsidian game, and that's just their style. So yeah, I cannot wait. It's going to be continued gameplay. We get to see what the game has to offer. They're gonna show some of the classes we get to play, and man, I'm super hyped. Did you play the Pillars game, Pillars of Eternity?
No, it wasn't my cup of tea. I've said this before. It's not because I don't like them. It's because I'm terrible at them.
But it's not. We are not talking here about Wasteland. We're talking about.
I know. I'm just terrible at those type of games anyway.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just naturally terrible at them.
So then, unfortunately, you missed out on a great world because the lore that they set up in this world called Eora was absolutely awesome, and they said you don't have to play. You don't need to have played the Pillars game to understand about it. It's a game on its own, but it's in the same world, and Eora is very rich in its lore, and I'm really looking forward to see that. And what do you think? Will we see some graphical improvements, and will we get a release date?
Yeah, of course we will. It's I think we'll definitely get a release date because these are games that are coming out this year. So we'll see a release date, if not a quarter. Hopefully we don't, because last time that's the one thing that we wanted them to improve on from last Dev Direct, was to give firm dates instead of giving quarters. And we had to wait like way further into the year to get the firm dates again, and we didn't need that.
Yeah.
So hopefully this time around, we get firm dates.
I would at least expect it for Avowed, because it's not the first time that they've shown. It's actually the third time if you count the original CGI trailer. It's now the third time that Avowed pops up, and then it's time to give a date. And with Hellblade, it's more than overdue. With Indie, I could see them giving a release window, maybe a quarter, but at least like
you never know with Bethesda though as a company, because they just like to give firm dates.
It's true. That's so true. And
even
then
if
they lay the game. But maybe. Who knows, man? Who knows? This is what the developer directed.
In terms of graphical changes, yes. The most polish, and this goes for every game, the polish and the graphical improvements tend to generally come in the last year of the development process, i.e. the polishing year. That's what you're seeing now from Stalker, who have literally stipulated this is for both polishing graphically and technically, to make sure it's ready for release.
Absolutely.
And that's where these games are at this point as well. All these games now are at the stage of technical and graphical polish before they release. So I think we'll see an improvement. I think we'll see them show off maybe even some of the, because I think what I took from the original Avowed showing as well was that they just showed off different biomes that people didn't associate with what they saw in the original trailer, which were colourful and took them off guard. What we could see today, however, could be some of the gritty biomes that aren't colourful.
I agree, because Eora is not a happy place. Oh, believe me, it's really not a happy place. So
I think we'll see maybe some of the more gritty areas of the map, and we'll see a little bit more of that. But I think we'll definitely see an improvement. Yeah,
I agree. So, Dutch, 7 minutes to go. Any expectations for Hellblade? Other than the release date, of course. What do you think?
No. You know what it is? I think people are going to get mad at what they do with Hellblade, because I think it's going to be very little gameplay. It's going to be a lot of behind-the-scenes developer talk and development, and people are going to get mad. But I think a lot of that will be as long as they show release date after they've done that, then I think a lot of that will subside and the madness will be like, okay, I can live with the fact that that wasn't a gameplay show. They've given us a release date. I'm happy. If, however, they just do behind the scenes dev talk again and they don't give a release date, I think there's going to be some bad discourse behind it.
I agree. The thing is, as much as I do love the insights and the development diaries and everything, we've had so many of them over the years. Ninja Theory has been the most transparent studio of them all. Yeah, like we had at least 6-7 development diaries. We have seen Hellblade in different ways. We've seen extended cutscenes. We've seen short snippets of gameplay. The one thing I want to see is continued gameplay. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes, but at least 2 minutes of continued gameplay to get a little bit a better feeling, and then just give me the release date. Let it be in April or May. That's when. I mean, the rumor says May now. My bet was always on April. But yeah, I take May as well.
I think you said April or May. I'm pretty sure you said that.
I said April. I said I didn't say May. I thought it might even be earlier.
I think last week you said April or May. I'm pretty sure.
May is now the safe bet. May is now the safe bet, but I don't want to reword my bet just because it's safe.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take May as a release date, but I would have much preferred, and I hope it's slightly wrong and it's maybe a little bit earlier, just so it hasn't spoilt the surprise, because I think a lot of people were just hoping for it, and I hope it does come. If it doesn't come, then it's all kind of build up for nothing.
Yeah, that is so true. So yeah, we will see that. Shout out to Dave Ramos for $2 super chat. He says #World of Gaming DD edition is about to begin. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. 4 minutes. And guys, you don't have to switch the stream. We're gonna turn off all overlays. You're gonna have the full experience right here. We're actually trying to upscale it locally and then stream even hopefully at least a little better picture quality even here. So just stay in the stream, and so you can join us in the discussion right after the entire thing. I am hearing runtime is 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is pretty long. So I think given that, even if you do 10 minutes for each of the 4 announced games, you would still have a lot of overhead to do a 5th game, which would be absolutely fantastic, Dutch. So yeah, any last thoughts before the show starts?
I'm just looking forward to it. It's the start of a new year. It's the start of a big year for Xbox.
Oh yeah.
Another big year for gaming. It's going to be absolutely packed to the rafters with games. So I'm still catching up on last year, but yeah, I'm never going to complain that we haven't got a lot of stuff to play. So I can't wait.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And 24 actually starts phenomenal. Prince of Persia just came out, which is absolutely awesome. People are loving it. And now we have this developer direct. Xbox 24 looks incredible with Avowed, Hellblade, and we all assume Indie will be a 24 game, because otherwise they wouldn't have put it in the January developer direct, So yeah, it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. Just real quick expectations on the format of the developer direct. Do you think we will see, I don't know, Phil or Sarah Bond or someone on the stage, or is it really just the studios?
Possibly Sarah Bond, to maybe at the start, but then after that, just the studios.
All right. So, guys, we're gonna switch over. You will still be able to hear us. But yeah, we are not gonna have any overlays, and we are definitely ready to see that. Let us know in the chat what are you most excited about. Only 1-2 minutes left before the developer direct is going to start. Dustin still hoping in the chat for Banjo, which obviously would be big, man. Dutch, what do you think? Any chances?
Of what, sorry?
Banjo?
No, I would love for it to be, but no, I can't see it.
They would set the internet on fire.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. I know a load of people are waiting for a Marcus Phoenix collection again still.
Yeah.
But I can't see that happening either.
That's true.
But we'll see. We'll see. I'm open to being surprised.
Me too. So only a few minutes to bridge. Before we're going to start here. I hope you all have your snacks ready. Walla Weasley is most excited for Hellblade, which is awesome. Hellblade, man, for Storm player, it's Avowed. Yeah, and there we go. The stream is live.
Yeah.
Just gonna do one real quick refresh.
I'll turn the TV down a bit, actually.
Let us know if the sound is good in the chat.
There we go. It's good enough for me. 10. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, Hellblade.
Yep. Definitely left the space at the end there.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to Obsidian first.
Ooh, nice.
Welcome to Obsidian Entertainment. I'm so proud to share with you our upcoming fantasy action RPG, Avowed. Avowed is an adventure into the heart of the living lands.
That looks pretty.
A frontier at the edge of the known world, where you must put a stop to a mysterious spiritual plague and discover a secret at the heart of the living lands. At Obsidian, we love creating worlds with deep themes, dynamic gameplay, and thoughtful reactivity. And Avowed is no different. We set out to blend the believable and fantastical to give players a world and experience like no other. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's strange. It's one of the most incredible settings in the world of Aora. There's going to be a lot of great secrets to discover, one of which has a really personal connection to you as the player character, and you're going to have a great time getting to know those secrets and leaving your mark on the world. And when it comes to encounters, our combat brings the best of the moment-to-moment fun that comes with action-oriented gameplay and the depth and breadth of choice that you get with an RPG. Here to talk more about Avowed's combat is Gabriel Paramo, gameplay director.
Here at Obsidian, our team's overarching goal is to empower you with choice. So we developed a flexible combat system that allows you to quickly swap from spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat. We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted. For all battles, you can combine a variety of weapons, attacks, and abilities for tactical advantages against a wide range of enemy types. It's not just hacking and slashing. You're making real-time decisions about when to use your abilities, powerful melee attacks, blocks, parries, and special attacks. If you choose to approach combat with a one-handed wand, it feels quick and snappy when dealing damage to enemies at mid-range. Using the Tanglefoot ability, you can stop enemies in their tracks, giving you the opportunity to focus on weaker or tougher combatants in an intentional and controlled manner. It's important to pay attention to the types of enemies you're dealing with. Some units are extremely defensive, some are brutishly difficult, and others you must make sure you prioritize, or their healing capabilities will put you in a tough spot. To help with the different encounters you will face, we provide customizable loadouts that can be quickly switched during combat. That means you can play however you want. Equip a sword and shield and charge into battle. Dual-wield pistols and control the encounter mid-range. Or even dual-wield wands to feel like a gunslinging mage. You could use your enchanted wand to freeze enemies, and then use your offhand weapon's power attack to shatter them. We've worked hard to keep you constantly engaged as battles unfold by creating a balance between pressure and manageability during combat.
Players will have ample choices for how to build and progress their envoy in the world of the Living Lands as they get to know the game and the story and explore the many diverse regions. Some quests in Avowed will have you make difficult decisions with profound consequences, like this side quest you may encounter in Shatterscarp, the third region you'll explore on your journey through the Living Lands. As you're exploring, you come across the bodies of these fallen soldiers, and as you explore the remains of the battle, it's up to you to determine who, if anyone, is at fault.
Just the four of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me. Training under Captain Ruiki, trying to keep Thirdborn safe.
In other words, you're a gang of vigilantes. Not that I'm one to judge.
Here, take my badge. Take everyone's. Our families deserve to know we fought and died for them.
Making the right choice isn't always what it seems. We embrace moral nuance and gray areas, trusting players to make tough decisions in complicated situations.
My squad and I rested in the cave by the water last night, and as we were sleeping, we were ambushed by those miserable Zorips. I was so surprised, and it was so dark. I just got separated from everyone else. Look, I can't face those monsters alone, but I have to know if anyone else made it out. Of course he did. Sergeant Asui never has a thought he won't say out loud. So what did he tell you? That Captain Ruiki was sick? That I was paranoid? That I was a dumb baby? I heard it all often and loudly. Wait, if you found Sergeant Asui, why is he not here with you? What happened?
At the end of the quest, you have a choice. When you confront Private Naoki, if you believe the story he's told you, you can hand over the badges and let him go back home.
You're right. Real battle isn't something you can prepare for, is it? It's not my fault. No, they should have never have camped in the cave. I'll take the badges. I'm going back to Thirdborn.
But if you confront him, if you believe that he fled the site of the battle as an act of cowardice, then he might challenge you to a fight to reclaim his honor. Either way, when you return to town, you'll see the consequences of your actions and the choices you made during this quest. Creating an immersive experience like Avowed is anchored in the world we build. Art director Matt Hansen and the team have worked to create a unique, colorful, and dynamic visual style.
From the outset, we knew that we wanted Avowed setting to feel rich, weird, and wonderful. We found inspiration in a wide swath of real-world cultures, helping us create a unique RPG experience. By contrasting the vibrant with the dull, or verdant spaces with sickly ones, we can better deliver complex emotional experiences for our players. The Living Lands is a continent of untamed valleys with widely varied biomes, from luxuriant forests to volcanic wastes, and each of those regions itself is a conflux of storied landscapes. All of the regions have a lot of special things associated with them, but I have a deep place in my heart for Shatterscarp. As you're wandering the wastes of Shatterscarp, you might notice off in the distance a vibrant jewel of color. By transitioning from destitute, muted tones of a wasteland of sand and marching in towards a beautiful oasis, there's the opportunity there for life, for adventure, and even a little danger.
We hope you've enjoyed this look at Avowed. We're thrilled to share more about the game in the coming months, and we can't wait for you to explore the Living Lands when Avowed
This
launches
fall.
this fall.
Okay.
So, Avowed is the fall game.
Yep. Oh, I like that art. I like that art.
That looks awesome.
Fall 24. No date, but fall 24. Okay.
Alright.
That's the fall game.
Looks very good, man.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Hellblade time.
Sweet.
Hi, I'm Don Matthews, studio head here at Ninja Theory in Cambridge, UK. We're now in the final months of development on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and the team is working hard to bring you an unforgettable journey into Senua's unique world and her battle for survival, where we have once again combined high fidelity and immersive presentation with a shorter, narrative-led experience that focuses on the things that we really care about, and that we hope you care about too.
You see how strong you are. Do you see how the pitiless world stamps you down?
Senua is back with a new quest. She wants to stop the Vikings who raided her village right at their source, in Iceland. But not just her quest has changed. Senua herself has grown since the first Hellblade. She's made peace with her past and is no longer in such fear of her visions and voices. While the Furies are still her constant companions, she encounters new people along the way, some of which will value her unique perspective, and others who will reject it.
Little by little, this settlement became my tribe.
In the game, Senua arrives in 10th century Iceland on the trail of the Vikings who have been enslaving her people. In the story, we're trying to be as faithful to history as we can up to a point, establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements on top. Senua will face up to giants who have plunged the land into chaos, and which in turn has seen the rise of the Droiga, a violent threat that has swept through the settlements that she'll discover. Senua will make new enemies and also new allies who will come to see her unique perspective as a beacon of hope. And she'll discover, along with us, how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
A sign. Focus.
Senua is a Celtic warrior who experiences psychosis, seeing things that other people don't, hearing voices, and having unique beliefs about the world around her. To bring Senua's perspective of the world to life in a truthful way, we have once again worked closely with Professor Paul Fletcher at the University of Cambridge, as well as people with lived experience of psychosis.
What does that mean? It's terrifying.
Players will find themselves traversing beautiful and hostile environments, seeking answers from patterns and signs that Senua sees in her own unique way, and battling through encounters with enemies that will push Senua to her limits.
On Saga, we've taken everything to the next level. With a new motion capture space, a bigger stage team, a stunt crew, and a new cast.
We spent a lot of time planning the motion capture shoots, thinking of what events would be good to bring into this fight. Like, how can we make this fight feel different from the previous fight? We have all new combat for the sequel. One of our key goals was the ability to actually tell a story throughout it. It does feel very different from the first game, but it's very brutal and you're very invested in it. Senua isn't a superhero. She's fighting for survival, and we want the player to feel her struggle in every step of her journey. We want the player to always feel like they just scraped through, just survived it.
Mel knows Senua better than anyone, better than I do. Her instincts are amazing, and she really doesn't need much help from me. On stage, our main focus is storytelling. So I get to watch the actors and see all the beautiful expressions on their faces. And then I have to wait a little while, and then I get to see that all again, in-game, in costume, on location, everything. It's a great experience, a great process.
Every discipline in the studio is unified in achieving a deep level of immersion to help suspend your disbelief and pull you into Senua's story. We were lucky enough to do a few reference gathering trips in Iceland. You have to be there. The sense of scale, everything is incredible. And you see a scene or you see a small section of the game and you're like, yeah, that works, that's amazing.
Senua experiences reality differently, and a part of this manifests in the voices she hears. These voices come to life through binaural audio, which provides a good representation of this type of auditory hallucinations. As we focus in immersion, binaural audio is perfect for this because through headphones, you surround yourself in a three-dimensional space. In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through a spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music that is binaural. Every single sound has the potential to be binaural, so everything is spatialized around you, and it's a very beautiful experience. Music is a strange language in the sense that it speaks to our emotions fast and deep. It's not only about quality, it's about personality. So when you listen to Hellblade, you know it's Hellblade. On the music, we are working with Heilung, which for me is a personal privilege because I really admire them. We feel their craft, their depth, their meaning in the music. It really connects with our game and elevates it to something really special. We are also working with a heavy metal singer, throat singers, and our very own Furies. They sing so beautiful, and we add that binaural touch of music. So this all creates a very immersive and a very special and unique experience.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech. And that's our aim in Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, is to not only see where Senua goes next, but to deliver something really meaningful for our players.
My hope is that they will really connect to Senua as a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character and they can then understand that person better.
Well, I don't want to sound cheesy, but in a way I'm Senua, right? She exists and doesn't. It exists through all of our work, through every ninja. So we all are Senua, and we are creating this character that grows and grows and grows and grows and keep growing and keep changing. So that makes it real.
I'm so proud of the love, care and passion our team here at Ninja Theory are putting into Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Our hope is to not only create a game that is great to play, but to craft an experience that leaves you thinking and feeling. From our combat gameplay through to our action set pieces, from our cinematic scenes to our puzzle solving, everything is crafted in service of Senua's journey. A journey that you can embark on May 21st.
Yes!
There we go. May?
Yeah. Thank God for that.
Awesome.
Official.
It looks absolutely stunning.
Yes, it does. It looks like the Square Enix.
Oh, mana. Nice.
That's different. I don't think anyone. No. Or is it an old mana game?
No, that's. I think that's Visions of Mana, the new one.
No, I don't think it is.
We shall see in a second.
Greetings, Xbox players. My name is Masaru Oyamada, producer for the Mana series here at Square Enix. 聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナの情報を Xbox ユーザーの皆さんにいち早くお伝えできる機会をいただけて大変光栄です。コンソールゲームとしては約17年ぶりとなる聖剣伝説シリーズの完全新作。聖剣伝説シリーズは1991年にファイナルファンタジー外伝として誕生して以降、マナと聖剣をめぐって描かれる愛をテーマに個性豊かなキャラクターたち、心に響く楽曲の数々、武器の特性を生かして戦うアクション RPG としてこれまでに17作発売され長らく愛されてきました。本作は30年以上の歴史あるシリーズの最新作となるため、これまで培われてきた聖剣伝説としての世界をしっかり感じられるものを目指して鋭意制作中です。フィールドでは自然や精霊とのつながりを感じられる色彩豊かな聖剣伝説の世界を体験してもらえると思います。シリーズおなじみのモンスターたちも本作に登場しています。今回これらのおなじみのモンスターたちを作り出した聖剣伝説の生みの親である石井光一さんとともに聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナの内容を紹介していきたいと思います。
Hello, I am Koichi Ishii from Grevs. I am so happy to introduce the newest game in the Mana series to Xbox players. 初期の頃からシリーズ作品に登場しているモンスターたちは私が考案したものですが、中には小学生の頃すでにイメージができていたものもあります。今作では初めはドット絵からスタートしたモンスターたちをどのような形で最新化して聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナに落とし込むか、デザインの方向性からモデルの完成イメージまでを監修する立場でプロジェクトに参加しました。聖剣伝説ファイナルファンタジー外伝を作っていた頃から自分の頭の中ではモンスターたちは立体的に生き生きと動いて、これまで自分が携わった作品ではそれらをどうやって当時の技術で表現できるかにこだわって作ってきました。最新作では聖剣伝説のモンスターたちのただ可愛いだけではなく恐ろしさの部分もしっかりと表現できているので、バトル中はモンスターたちの表情にも注目してください。
これまで聖剣伝説シリーズには空を旅する海を渡る手助けをしてくれる頼もしい仲間たちがいましたが、今作には広大なフィールド探検に欠かせない新たな仲間が登場します。陸上を猛スピードで駆け回ってくれるピックルも石井さんが新たに考案してくださっています。
新たな仲間を考えるにあたっては今作のマスコットキャラクターになるくらい可愛い動物にしたいという漠然とした思いがありました。その上でヨークシャテリアの毛並み、見た目はアルマジルによく似た仙山港や古代エジプト神のアヌビスの子供といった具体的なイメージが浮かんできて、それぞれの特徴を取り入れながらラフデザインを書き起こしました。デザイナーにもアイデアを出してもらいながら足の長さや丸まった時のイメージなどゲームの中での見え方も考えながら調整を重ねていき、ピックルは誕生しました。
もう一つの挑戦は楽曲面です。過去さまざまなコンポーザーが携わられた楽曲の雰囲気が感じられつつも、最新作として素晴らしい新たな楽曲が生まれました。 BGM でもしっかり聖剣伝説シリーズらしさを感じてもらえると思います。過去シリーズの楽曲を手掛けたクリエイターたちが 全100曲という大ボリュームの制作に挑んでくれました。
See, I was never a big mana fan, so were manas traditionally hack and slash, or were manas traditionally turn-based like Final Fantasy?
探索中の BGM がバトルに入った瞬間、アレンジが切り替わる様を実際に見てみましょう。
Hack and slash, and I loved the Mana series. It's a phenomenal series. Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo, man. Boy. And this looks like it stays true to the source material.
今作はアクション RPG 聖剣伝説のアクション部分が強化されています。
So do these series have super villains as well, or?
武器での攻撃だけで
Kinda?
魔法での攻
You
撃
had to
も
find
可能に
out
なっていま
who's
す。
the super villain and
そして、
Yeah.
本作ならではの特徴として聖剣伝説シリーズではおなじみの精霊たちがいますが、その力を宿した武器を使うとバトルを手助けしてくれるようになります。精霊によっては様々な特性の違いがありますので、その効果とともに聖剣伝説の世界らしい不思議な力で爽快なバトルを楽しんでいただけます。
オリジナルモンスターやピックリにも注目してほしいのですが、聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナーは聖剣伝説らしさを感じてもらえる作品になるよう、小山田君を中心にチームのみんなが頑張って作ってくれていますので、ぜひ発売日を楽しみに待っていてください。
Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is available to pre-install now. Thank you, Marion, for that.
聖剣伝説シリーズとして初めて Xbox ユーザーの皆さんにお届けする本作聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナは今後も様々な情報をお届けしていきますので、ぜひご期待ください。この夏、この忘れられない冒険を Xbox ユーザーの皆さんに楽しんでいただける日が今から待ちきれません。
Summer 24. Okay.
nice.
Do you think they're going to leave Indie to last?
Yeah, probably. Probably. No Game Pass announcement for Visions of Mana just yet.
Nope. Yep. Oxide.
Hello, and welcome to Oxide Games. We founded the studio in 2013 with our decades of personal experience building some of the most beloved strategy games of all time, like Civilization V. We came together to create something new and innovative in a genre we all love. Ara History Untold is the game we've dreamt of making.
Ara is an homage to historical gamers, strategy gamers, 4X gamers. It features all the depth and gameplay fans of this genre love, where you'll explore the world, expand your nation, govern your people, and engage with your rivals on the international stage. But it isn't just more of the same. With Ara, we wanted to challenge some of the preconceived notions about the genre, push it forward in a modern, empowering, and truly compelling and approachable way.
For example, we have over 100 instruments on display in the office, which are all things that we purchased in order to add to the soundtrack and expand the game and make it really good. Hi, Dan. That's Dan. We started in his basement. It's been an amazing process to see from concept to completion. We started small, building a robust game engine, questioning our design assumptions, and prototyping out features, rediscovering what made us fall in love with strategy games in the first place.
The end result is Ara, the historical grand strategy game that presents a living world where you can rule how you want to rule and chart your own path to becoming the most prestigious nation on the planet.
For Ara, we knew we needed deep systems with outcomes that encourage exploration and give players the power to experiment and make meaningful strategic choices while still having agency over their playstyle.
We also wanted to explore more in different parts of history and give players from around the world the chance to see the game reflect their unique perspective and not just ours.
And finally, we knew that for players to feel the impact of their decisions, they would need to see their choices reflected in the game world itself, not just through numbers on a menu. One of the first differences you'll see when you dive into Ara is what we call the living world. It's a procedurally generated alternate Earth, bursting with life, an intuitive, authentic, and immersive space, a blank canvas for players to paint the society of their dreams.
This looks like a Boxenberger
Living
game.
World isn't just
Yes,
a
it
map.
is.
It reflects the choices players
Definitely
make over
looks
the
like a
course of the
time
game.
sink
They can
for
see
me.
everything from the settling of the wilderness to cultural influence on architecture over time to the thousands of citizens living their lives and reacting to the changes. We want players to feel like they're truly occupying the world, leading their people as they thrive and grow. Core to the vision of Ara is our philosophy of rule how you want to rule. And no feature better exemplifies this than the prestige system.
To win a game of Ara, players will compete with their rivals to build the most influential, impressive, and important nation the world has ever known. This is measured by prestige, the player's score that proves their worth as a leader.
The prestige system gives players the chance to decide what kind of leader they want to be. Do they want to pursue great works of arts and culture? Military might? Scientific advancement? The choice is theirs. In Ara, there are no set victory conditions. Players get to decide what is most important to them and focus and prioritize on those goals while still being able to win the game.
Personally, when I play Ara, I like to build triumphs. Triumphs are our collection of incredible monuments and architectural achievements from throughout human history. Like the Great Pyramid of Giza. They're hard to build, but worth it, giving huge prestige bonuses and game-changing abilities to the nation that constructs them.
Another aspect of Ara that I'm personally excited about is our crafting system.
The crafting system offers a unique challenge to the player that they generally won't see often in the 4X genre. Succeeding at balancing, gathering the right things, turning them into the tools that you need, and then finally getting to the outcome or reward of something like an important improvement or triumph just changes the challenge that exists in Ara compared to other 4X games.
Crafting plays out in Ara at a national scale, with players honing and combining the natural resources they harvest into all manner of goods and components. Those are the foundation for everything, from international trade to improving their cities and citizens' lives, and even manufacturing the weapons necessary to draft military units. The crafting system in Ara encourages thoughtful, advanced planning. It rewards players who can see the strategic outcome of all their collective decisions, and not just the individual ones.
I'm proud of the work that's gone into our simultaneous turn system. Many strategy games have players alternate taking turns and reacting to their opponent's moves. In Ara, all players' actions are resolved at the same time. This rewards players' ability to navigate uncertainty, to predict and strategically plan for a variety of scenarios in the moment. This system makes Ara just feel more real. In a typical strategy game, once your turn is finished, you have to wait for a long time. With simultaneous turns, generally speaking, those times are very low. You get to keep playing the game and stay engaged rather than having those periods of downtime where you're not doing anything.
It's not easy sifting through all of history and picking what to include. For Ara, we wanted to offer a fresh perspective, so we looked at cultures and societies throughout the millennia with the broadest lens possible.
Where this approach really shines is in our leaders. Leaders are so often seen as military personnel or prominent government figures, but leaders come in so many different forms. They're thought leaders, scientific and cultural prodigies, and many more.
Each leader in Ara has a number of special abilities determined by their personality traits, as well as a powerful and unique leader trait informed by their contributions to world history.
With a diverse global roster, we know players will find leaders that they will want to play. And even a few that may surprise them with how fun it is when those leaders are handed the reins of power.
For us at Oxide, player feedback is the only way to really understand what you're making. It gives us that priceless perspective from the people we're making Ara for, you.
Building the game alongside real players has given us that critical player feedback. In the end, we believe this makes for a deeper connection between the players and the game.
One of my favorite examples is when we first introduced the concept of dangerous wildlife to the game. It turns out, in our first iteration, it was maybe a little bit too aggressive or disruptive. We knew we should probably make a change when one of our insiders made a forum post that was just,
"Cougars, cougars,
cougars, I hate cougars!
Someone get these feline demons away from me. I'm happy to report, based on more recent feedback, that I think we ended up in a good place with the overall threat level of mountain lions to a player's citizenry.
It's been years of hard work to bring you a strategy experience like no other. And we're so excited that we can finally see the finish line. We can't wait for players to get their hands on the game later this year.
But the launch of Ara is only the beginning. We are going to maintain our insider program after the release date and continue to listen to players and support the game into the future.
On behalf of everyone at Oxide Games, thank you for joining us today. We can't wait for you to play Ara and to create your own history.
Another fall game.
Yeah. Only on PC and PC Game Pass so far.
So far, yeah.
Looks like it's gonna be challenging to port that over with all the menus and whatnot.
Oh god, yeah.
Right, it's probably indie time.
Indie!
There we go.
Here we go.
There we go.
Hej och välkommen till Uppsala, Sverige, här hos Machine Games. We are really excited to finally be able to share our work on Indiana Jones. Since the first film came out, Indiana Jones has always represented the ultimate adventure. Even today, it's one of the most iconic franchises in pop culture. In this game, you aren't just playing as Indy, you are Indiana Jones. You will see through his eyes and experience a journey that we hope lives up to the proud legacy of Indiana Jones. When Todd Howard first told us about his vision for the game, we knew we would be a very good fit to help bring it to life.
I've wanted to make an Indiana Jones game forever. I'd had this idea for what it would be like and the story, what Indy was going after, what period of his life it was in, what kind of arc he was going to have. And as the years went on, I thought, who would be like the best studio in the world to make this? And it was my friends at Machine Games. I can remember pitching Lucasfilm on the game and being, a little bit nervous because, look, it's, Indiana Jones, and their response was just overwhelmingly positive, and just that excitement has bled through the whole project, and they have just been so trusting and supportive of everything that we want to do with the game. It's been a long time. I've been a fan of this my whole life, and I couldn't be more excited to show you what the team here has been up to. Let's take our first look at the new Indiana Jones game.
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Oh! It does look like Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's first person.
Myths. History. Just different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried. Just waiting to be found.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me.
Unless it's a mixture.
Throughout history, mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle. I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I can keep up? patron of the fallen angels, protector of the Churkulimani, the Great Circle. You have any idea how old that was?
It looks
Indiana
great.
Jones
I'm not gonna lie.
an
Looks
iconic
fantastic.
character, and he means so much to so many people. Everyone here at the studio has their own indie stories and memories. Most of us grew up with his adventures and have been fans of the movies and the character for years. He's a brilliant archaeologist, he's a charismatic everyman, he's passionate and determined. And for us, he's synonymous with adventure.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience. Our game is all about putting you in Indy's shoes, letting you see and feel what he sees and feels. For us at Machine Games, we do that best through first person. It's the ideal perspective to bring you into the rich, exciting and interactive world we've built. We believe that being up close and personal to the adventure is key, making each action feel like your own.
Whether it's cracking your whip, solving puzzles in ancient temples, or seeing your knuckles go bloody in a fistfight, all of these moments are much more intense in first person. But we still want you to have those moments. Seeing his iconic silhouette with the hat and the whip, and so for things like cutscenes and environmental traversal, we pull the camera back for a third
Yeah,
person
so
view.
combat's first person and things like that. Third
Indiana
person's for the
Jones and the Great
exploration.
Circle is set between
Okay, I can
Raiders
live
of
with
the
that.
Lost Ark and The Last Crusade.
Oh, interesting.
When our game begins, Indiana is working at Marshall College. He wakes up in the middle of the night to the sounds of a break-in and rushes to confront the thief in the college museum. The mysterious giant of a man makes off with what seems to be a historically insignificant artifact, sparking Indiana's
I
curiosity.
recognise that guy's face as well.
Following the trail, Indiana heads to the Vatican, hoping to learn why this particular relic was stolen, and discovers that things aren't what they appear.
He starts pulling at the strings of a mystery, and it all unravels until he has no choice but to see it through to the end, whatever the end may be.
On next plane to Rome. Stop. Need help. Stop. Meet me in Vatican. Stop. Indy.
We always talk about how clever Indiana Jones is. That had to be one of our guiding principles when we were thinking about the type of game we were making. It wouldn't be Indy if he wasn't using his wits to get through the situation. The most authentic Indiana Jones experience we can make is the one that makes you think first.
Getting the hang of this.
Sure, there will be some obstacles that will be more easily overcome with the revolver or a gun taken from a disarmed guard. But I think most of the time you'll have more fun, and to be honest, a more genuine indie experience by finding more clever ways to solve a problem.
We always want to be offering more solutions, whether it's trying a different path through the environment to get around enemies, observing enemy patrols and using them to your advantage, or using the tools at your disposal, like the whip.
It's an amazing global adventure, with action propelling you through your journey.
We have these really diverse environments for you to explore. Indy's journey will take him to the forgotten temples of Sukhothai, the pyramids of Egypt, the snow-peaked Himalayas, and beyond.
We look carefully at each location and the time period the game is set in, and we're trying to make it as authentic and accurate as possible.
We love creating rich, vibrant worlds, and in this game, we also had the goal of making it feel like a true cinematic Indiana Jones adventure.
One of the biggest ways to do that is with the music. John Williams is the original composer for the Indy films, and we're really lucky to have found Gordy Hub, a composer who's been able to capture Williams' essence with his score for The Great Circle.
We also take a very movie-like approach to things like cinematics. We're very physical with our production style. We use a lot of stunt actors. Things like this help us bridge the gap between making a game and making a movie.
And of course, our characters do a lot to help bring the world to life as well. Next to Indy, Gina is our other main protagonist. Where Indy is pursuing answers just for the sake of curiosity, Gina has a personal stake in getting to the bottom of the core mystery.
Gina is an investigative reporter who has a lot riding on this adventure. She's been tracking a lead for some time, and now she's found an ally in this determined American professor. Their paths are intertwined, and they'll need each other in order to get to the bottom of this mystery.
Okay then, let's see if we can keep up.
I can't believe how well they've caught it, Harrison Ford's likeness and
We always
characteristics
love
on
our
screen.
villains and think we might have found our favorite one yet in Emmerich Voss. He's this intensely psychological man. He's obsessed with the human mind and manipulating it.
He's highly intelligent and the perfect foil for Indy. They're both brilliant people, compelled by their passions and obsessions, but driven down wildly different roads.
He creeps up on you and gets under your skin like he gets under Indy's skin. It's captivating.
Dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
One of our mottos for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is adventure first. But in every indie adventure, there are always those moments where he finds himself in the action.
That's been one of those balancing acts for us, and we've ended up with this sort of hybrid experience that mixes melee combat, stealth, and gunplay.
How you approach any given situation is up to you. You may choose to sneak around an enemy patrol, or maybe you just take a shovel and whack them on the back of their head. And when you can't use your wits, you got Indy's most iconic tool. Just like you see in the movies, one of our goals has been to make the whip as fun and multi-purposed as possible. We want it integrated into every aspect of the game.
You can use it as a traversal tool to make your way around the environment. You can use it as a distraction. And yes, you can absolutely use it in combat. Everything you'd expect from Indy's whip, and hopefully a little bit more. Puzzles are a key feature in our game. The spirit of discovery is so important to Indiana Jones. Obviously, there are a handful of puzzles on the main path, but a lot of the puzzles are optional and are just there for the players who want to experience them. Epic traps, small secrets, and hidden puzzles that blend right in with their surroundings.
One thing I love about our game is the level of interactivity that we have. We have this world of mystery where anything could potentially hide a secret. The more you look, the more you'll discover.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I want to thank you all for joining us for our big reveal of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Machine Games is known for creating these rollercoaster experiences with huge set pieces, surprising twists, and immersive narratives. It's exciting for us that we have been able to stay so true to the Indiana Jones franchise and create such an authentic experience while still being able to showcase what makes us us. We are making a game for everyone, whether you are very familiar with the franchise or not. Because at the heart of Indiana Jones is an incredible adventure, and I think that's something everyone wants to be part of. I'm also very excited to announce that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be coming later this year, and we cannot wait to share more soon.
Okay.
Good stuff here, man. Good stuff.
Oh. Okay, that's it.
Incredible developer direct.
Yep. Avowed looks absolutely great. We got the Hellblade release date.
Is it animals, children, developers?
Indy looks fantastic.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech.
Core to the vision of Ara is our philosophy of rule how you want to rule. Stay happy!
Creating an immersive experience like Avowed is anchored in the world we build.
You aren't just playing as indie, you are Indiana Jones.
My name is Masaru Oyamada. 今作はアクション RPG 聖剣伝説のアクション部分が強化されています。
Terrific. Happy days.
Absolutely
I
awesome.
am glad the leakers were incorrect about a special 5th surprise game that we hadn't seen before.
Well, they have been correct about a 5th game being there. So, yeah, man. Yeah. What a show. What a show. Absolutely. I'm honestly so well put together. Like, we've seen gameplay for everything. We got some explanations about what to expect from the games. Very well paced, not too many games, not too few games. Every game looked great. Everything that they've shown, Xbox has set up very, very high expectations now for 24, man.
Yeah.
I'm super happy. How about you, man?
Oh yeah, I got my release date, so I am happy. I am happy. May 21st is confirmed. So yeah, I'm super happy about that. But Indiana Jones looks absolutely fantastic. It sounded like, and I'm gonna have to watch it back again, but it sounded like they got someone very similar to Harrison Ford's voice to do Harrison Ford, but they definitely got his exact likeness. So I'm glad they were allowed to do that because it looks phenomenal. I can get away with it being first person / third person. The way that they've done it, it looks good that way. I enjoy that. That's fine. If it was completely first person and even traversal was first person and you don't see Indy, I think that could be a little bit of an issue. But the way they've done it, I think, is great. So hats off to them. And Avowed looks fantastic. The more I see it, they showed a little bit more of the biomes, the colourful ones, the darker ones, the more realistic looking sections. So yeah, it's what a big year for Xbox so far. And they've even mentioned this is just some of the, well, at least the more, some of the games that we know of that are coming out this year as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good year. It's going to be really big, really good show. Really good show. I can't complain. Honestly, there was nothing I can complain about there.
I somehow messed
up the
overlay.
The only thing is I would have loved to have got a more firm release date for Avowed. Not so much Indie. Indie, of course, they'll firm that up in June. But having Avowed, Aura, and Indie coming the tail end of the year, it then begs the question: what else have they got at the beginning of the year?
Yeah,
you've got Hellblade. You've got Stalker now at the tail end of the year.
In September.
Yeah.
If September they've set Avowed for fall, Indie is probably also going to be second half, of course. They have Call of Duty, of course, now being first party in the second half.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a ridiculously good 2024, especially the second half now.
Yeah.
So Dutch, let us go through this step by step. By the
Yeah.
way, I fixed the overlay now, so we can watch
Nice.
it back in
I've just
parallel.
restarted the gameplay stuff in the background, so the stream's back on again in the background there.
Yeah, so I let it run here one more time for our community. This time, of course, a little bit with the overlays. So, guys, in the chat, let us know what you all thought. Paul also already said it was an amazing developer direct, but I want to hear from everyone else. What did you guys think about this developer direct? Because I think, Dutch, we both agree we loved it.
Yeah. We've got a couple in mind as well. Captain Tunisia here. He says if he ranked the show, he would have Avowed first, then Indiana Jones, then Hellblade. Even though Hellblade is his most anticipated, they didn't show much in terms of continuous gameplay, which is fine. He also said Indy looks more than great, even though I expect that from Wolfenstein, because Wolfenstein's all look incredible. Exactly.
They did.
Exactly.
They did.
Red Eye Jedi said Indy reminds me of old school Tomb Raider. Yep. And Scott says so excited for Hellblade 2 in May.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome stuff here. Yeah, Dutch. So let us start. They started the show with Avowed. We can see the footage running here now, of course, in parallel. Hang on, now I've almost messed up the overlay again. Yeah. Avowed, man. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by our chat right now. Weasel says he liked it way more than last year's showcase because of personal preference. Stormplayer DX says Indiana Jones looks so good and the developer direct was awesome too. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more with everything. Avowed. What did you think, man?
It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks really good. I'm looking forward to getting into the different options. I like that they touched on the again having the Obsidian feel of having options that have consequences, and you can choose to agree with them and just give him the medals back, or you can disagree and say that he's a deserter, and then that has a consequence on if you go back to the town, whether or not they're hostile towards you, or so on and so forth. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes, how the companions work. But overall, graphically, it looks fantastic. It looks really nice.
It really does. I didn't expect it to be on that level, honestly, from Obsidian. Again, Obsidian, all their games looked great at the time, but like not really super graphical showcases. But this really does look nice. And it obviously has improved a lot from its first original showing in the June showcase in 23 to now.
Yeah.
And I bet when it comes out this fall, it will look even better. The environments look super detailed and crisp. It's got this... I love these vibrant color games. Not every game has to have like a photorealistic art style. I like those kind of stylized types of art styles, and the colors pop, and they've shown so many really good looking biomes. The water effects look great, the lighting and particle effects, and especially during combat looked great. Very detailed textures there. So from a technical point of view, they kind of surprised me. I didn't expect it to be on that level. I expected it to look a little better than last year, but this is a great
You know
leap
what, as
they
well,
took.
Boxy? I think the
Let me know.
biomes look much larger than I thought I was expecting. Like, they said it was going to be on Outer Worlds 2 or Outer Worlds level, but I think to me, the biomes they've showed and the areas they've showed seem like they are actually substantially bigger than that scale. I don't know whether or not it's just me, but judging like from everything I've seen on what they've showed off so far, the actual size of the environments you can explore looks significantly bigger than Outer Worlds.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And again, I don't need every game to have this super gigantic open world. I thought Outer Worlds was one of the best RPGs of last gen, simply for the fact that it did something different with its open world approach, and have a lot of open areas that you can still explore, lots of stuff to discover, lots of side quests to discover, but it makes the experience a little bit more focused, and I appreciate that. So yeah, they've shown, like you said, the system with the consequences, and if you remember games like Fallout or New Vegas, of course, or especially Outer World, you know exactly what they are talking about when they say your choices have consequences. And the thing was, in Outer Worlds, a lot of these consequences you didn't realize immediately. So it's not like you made a choice and then, like they said it in this developer direct, you go back to the village and you see the consequences. Sometimes it took you like 5 to 10 hours to see the impact of your choices that you made. And I think this is looks absolutely phenomenal. It's a true RPG. You know, it's not just hack and slash. It is an RPG. You have to take care of your character. You have to pay attention to your decisions and make them, and know that your actions have consequences. And they have not shown much about the classes and the leveling system and actual RPG mechanics in terms of how you level up your skill set and so on. But they've shown quite.
Do you think in June then we'll see more of an extended look at this game before they release it?
I would assume so. A
bit like they did with Starfield, but probably not as long.
That's a good question. Maybe they do that.
With like classes and things like that, just to kind of explain it a little bit more.
I could see that happening. I don't know if they do like a dedicated show like they did it with Starfield right after, because now we have already gotten the, let's call it, deep dive into it, and you could also implement that in the main showcase, because last year with Starfield, obviously Starfield was their big fall game. Now they have multiple bigger fall games. You could argue last year they had also Forza, but then Forza really doesn't need any explanation. So I'm just skipping a little bit back on the footage here so that we can watch Avowed again before we move on to the next game. But it's like I'm not sure if they do a dedicated event for it, but I would assume that they give us another deeper insight, especially
lengthier, a little bit of a lengthier look at it.
Yeah, but you could also very well implement that in this one, because if you do it, give Avowed a dedicated developer direct after the June showcase, like they did with Starfield, what do you do with the others? Yeah, like your Stalkers, like your indies, and they have so many.
I was going to say as well, though, judging by what we've seen of the character on screen, is there classes, or are you just able to craft a person that can do everything, but is like more like, depending on what the mechanics are or the RPG mechanics, you could kind of go more towards archery and weapons, or more towards swords and magic? Or
I would assume that it's very similar like in Skyrim, where you had classes, but the classes were not like, okay, this is the wizard class and this is the barbarian class. It was based on your play style, but you had to make the choice what kind of race you are. Yeah, and that gives you certain benefits, like better stamina or whatnot, higher vitality. So I would assume that it's like this, because they were like explaining the system on you being able to swap instantly during gameplay with different loadouts. And that obviously leads to the fact that you are going to switch a lot in between you wielding the wands or dual wands. Like, I love that.
Dual wands.
That looks like something I would be doing a lot. And then
overpowered Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. Stupor.
Avada
Ah, good lord. Yeah. So I think it is more seamless, like really depending on your actual play style. But yeah, we will see. What did you think of like the animation work and combat system and everything?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more because we saw a lot of monsters there and not so many human-like enemies.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more of the human-like enemies and maybe some more of the skeleton-esque enemies. Maybe even a boss or a larger enemy somewhere soon. But from what I've seen, the combat-wise looks very fluid. It looks very quick. In certain circumstances, you're a little bit slow when you're doing some of the powers, and that's fine. And then other circumstances, you're like rapid firing your spells, and then you're pulling out your gun and shooting it. So yeah, it looks seamless. It looks quick and fluid. It looks like you can get some good combos going. But no, I thought combat wise, the animations looked great. I like the kind of some more defensive enemies versus some more kind of smaller, ineffective enemies that you can fight. So it's certainly going to be very interesting, that's for sure. But no, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. It does look fantastic. And yeah, it remains right up there along with Fable as being one of my most anticipated games. Although I must say indie now, but we'll get to indie. We'll get to indie.
We will. I mean, you know what this means, though, with this coming out in the fall? It means I've got plenty of time to play through Skyrim again. So that's absolutely fine.
I'm not sure if I should do that because I know I should. You can never go wrong with Skyrim, but then you will automatically compare this game all the time to Skyrim, and I know it looks a lot like Skyrim, but it's still an Obsidian game, and Obsidian always has their unique touches, and that's good. That's a very good thing to differentiate themselves.
I love that. I love that artwork, mind.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get off it there. That artwork is absolutely fantastic at the end. I love that logo with the skeleton with all the different flowers and things coming out of it. And
yeah, absolutely.
I hope that's the box art, as we say, because that looks fantastic.
It does. So, Luke in the chat says he thinks, by the way, shout out to Luke, Avowed looked much improved visually, combat not particularly great, but I think it depends on how it feels with the controller in its hand. Yeah, that's the thing. The combat, of course, looks very similar to what we had in games like Skyrim. But it is not like just simple hack and slash action in those kind of games. So I'm cool with it, and I cannot wait to actually play it with the controller in my hand. Yeah. So anything else you want to add to Avowed before we move on to Hellblade?
No, but seeing it's got us more excited for it, which is always a good thing, and that's what you want more. Again, the only thing is I kind of wish they'd firmed up the date a little bit more, but we know both that and Aura are coming out in the fall.
I mean, we said both in the pre-show that we would love to see release dates, and while that would have been awesome, I do understand why they don't give a certain release date for games that are 6 months plus out, because you might need to switch or move certain things around. And if you would set now a date for Avowed, let's say in September, and it's gonna be October or November, you're just automatically faced with the discussion about a delay. And of course, you don't wanna do that unless you're really, really sure. I think that's definitely a lesson learned that they had. So yeah, man. A game we did get a date on was the next one that they've shown, and that was, of course, Hellblade. Hellblade 2.
Yes.
So, I know, you're super stoked. May 21st, the leaks have been true. Which is really not that far along. It's like 4 months from now. And we have plenty of games to play up until that point. But yeah, man, Hellblade continues to look like just an insanely good experience. Like, everything about this game screams just polish and high quality. Like, visually, obviously, it's simply breathtaking. Probably the most technically advanced game of this gen so far. I would say,
easily.
Like, the level of detail, the texture work, the animation work, the lighting, it all just comes together so well. The facial animations are insanely good. So yeah, from that point of view, definitely. I was a little surprised by how much focus they put on the actual character development of Senua and the storytelling. I was more expecting, like, okay, look, we scanned this and we did that, and but it was a lot of talk about, well, how Senua is going to be experienced, what she's struggling with. They also put a focus on emphasizing multiple times that it's not just Senua anymore in this game, that there's another character and that she meets other characters, which is something we haven't had in the first game. But what did you think, man?
Yeah, it was fascinating to see them tell us about something new that was actually quite interesting. You mentioned they're having separate like characters that they meet, they talk to all the way through. And I also loved the fact that there were certain sections there that were a little bit more, should we say, quieter, that weren't combat orientated, that where it was a little bit more actual exploration of the environment around them in a normal way. So you saw them kind of show you different sections where she's walking like with one of the companions, obviously exploring the town or settlement they're in, and they're going up different locations, and it shows you these different locations in a normal way, like out of combat, like storytelling elements. And I wasn't really expecting to see that, or at least them to show that off there. So it was nice to see them show off, okay, here's some of the other separate characters that are going to be introduced to. There's going to be these story elements where you're not doing combat or puzzles and things like that, and you're walking around the settlement and seeing the environment in a normal way. And again, everything just looks unbelievably high quality. Like it's, I don't think we've, and again, I think this will absolutely set the bar for what this generation is capable of in terms of both visually, and I mean, it depends on what level of quality they're putting into. Now, we know this is getting shown on console, but what level of quality it's going to be able to push both on console and PC, and literally how technical this can be and what level of fidelity you can go to. And we know even from the first game, you're able to turn off things like film grain and turn off chromatic aberration to kind of really bring out the fidelity even more. We always turn off chromatic aberration.
First thing you do, all those filming stuff. Yeah.
But it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm really liking the fact that they're, like you say, exploring the lore and the storytelling more. Now, they did storytelling great in the first one, but it was very different. It was a very lonely experience. It was just Senua.
Yeah.
She was having visions of dead people that were guiding her, but that was as far as it went. Not actual physical companions, essentially. And then showing her in combat against both the Druga as well as Vikings. And then there's like sections on screen now that I'm going to rewind back, where you see her kind of walking around these bright daylight environments that are just stunning to look at. Like I didn't think that we'd see something like that, and it shows a complete contrast of calm versus like chaotic.
Yeah,
that the game's going to have as well, to give you a kind of greater sense of those chaotic moments. Additionally to that, the combat that they've mentioned there, I love how they focused on telling you about the combat more, in trying to say, like, literally we've overhauled the combat, but we've also made it so that you realize you're not a superhuman. You're not some like big bad boss.
Yeah.
You're going to struggle, and we want to make you feel like every fight is a fight for survival, and that you've only just escaped. And to be fair, especially if you've played Hellblade 1 to the latter end, it does feel like that more often than not, that you're just getting by in each of the fights, and you're like, I have only just managed to stay on my feet there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they kind of emphasizing that as well, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else the combat kind of does and how they've changed it up a bit. But yeah, it just looks phenomenal, and I'm so glad that we've got a firm release date for it now, and it's not far away. It's not far away at all. It's May. There's a few games coming out before that to keep us occupied. So yeah, really happy about that. First half of the year, Hellblade 2. Nice. What about you? What's your overall thoughts on Hellblade then?
So yeah, they're very similar actually. Listen, Hellblade 2 was announced along with the Xbox Series X. So we were all expecting that game not to come out like 3 years into the generation, but then you can really tell, okay, they took their time. They took their time to deliver a very special experience on all levels. Visually, the audio. They also talked a lot about how they designed the audio, and if you all remember the binaural audio we had in the first one, that's gonna come back even in an improved way, which also leans into this. Okay, this is a special experience. I love how they try to evolve Senua. It's not just her own battle she fights anymore, but she fights it for other people, so with other people, and still keep true to this fact, like you said, she's not a superhero. Yeah, it's not a hack and slash where you fight hundreds of monsters and then and slay everyone. You struggle with combat. You have that the visual shots that they have shown from different biomes, like in bright daylight, colorful, vibrant, great lighting, and then you have the dark and gritty scenes, and you mix that together and you get just an incredible game. And I think this is one experience that when you play through, when you roll the credits, you're just gonna be left with this wow feeling, that was one hell of a ride. And it really does show how Ninja Theory tries to deliver a very, very special experience on all ends. And yeah, it's not far away, May 21st. The only game that got an actual date in the show also tells you, okay, they are probably really confident about achieving that. It really is going to be May, and it's time. It's gonna be one of those showcase titles that when you bring home a friend and they want to see what what an Xbox can do, you put on Hellblade to simply impress, to deliver a very unique,
Put the headphones
mature
on them and scare them for a bit.
Yeah. And deliver a mature experience, you know.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely excited about this game and loved everything I've seen. I've seen enough now. Just give me the game. There's no need to show more. I just want to play it now, and I cannot wait, man. I really, really cannot wait. So, yeah, Hellblade. Again, not far off. But let us move on to the next game. The next game was
Horror.
The fifth game. No, the fifth
Oh,
game.
Visions.
Exactly. The rumors were true. There was a fifth game. Not a first-party game, but Square Enix made an appearance and actually gave quite a lengthy look into Visions of Mana. And you said it during the show. You haven't played Mana, but I have. I remember it on the Super Nintendo. You know, it was the only. You remember the Super Nintendo only had a controller port for like 2 controllers. So, but they had an adapter with that game, so that you can plug in like a third controller. It had, you know, local co-op, and I remember being a kid with my friends sitting in the living room at my parents, and we've been playing this game like crazy. And over the years, I went back and played Secret of Mana so many times because it was just a phenomenal experience. It delivered this great mixture of a kind of a cute world, but then like for its time, like relatively good leveling systems and how you had to work together with your companions, even if you played solo. And the music was absolutely epic. And a lot of the later games captured that. Trials of Mana was great. And the Mana games, they have such a rich history. And now we haven't got a new Mana game in, I want to say, 10 years or so at least. And I think the Visions of Mana looks like, yeah, exactly what you want to see in a Mana game ported into 2024. It's still got this kind of cutie feeling vibe to it. But then it's just fun combat, great world building, and great leveling system, and all that with that JRPG humor kind of thing, and art style. I loved everything I've seen about this game, and I was super surprised that they showed it here now. It really shows you that Xbox was serious about this renewed relationship with Square. The game showing up like this at the developer direct. I know our chat was very like, oh yeah, Game Pass. That's gonna be in Game Pass. They didn't announce that. Maybe that comes later. Maybe they will bring it into Game Pass. I feel like it would be a good thing to do that with that game. They said it's going to be a summer release, and summer games struggle with 2 things. First, it's summer, and the second thing is obviously you can release big games in the summer, but you have to be a big game. Like smaller games tentatively didn't do that well, and now Visions of Mana is probably not shiny enough, you know, to be able to be released in summer. So I think it would be a great fit for Game Pass. I'm not sure if it will happen, because they would have probably announced it now if they had the chance to show the game off during a developer direct and giving it such a great spotlight, you know, and really attach the name Visions of Mana to the Xbox brand. Why wouldn't you announce it if it comes to Game Pass? But yeah, maybe we get surprised there. But regardless of a Game Pass drop, this is definitely a day one buy for me. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it, 100%. It's be my first dive into the Mana series, so I hope it lives up to the great expectations that all of you Mana fans have laid out in front of me. And I will be holding you physically and personally responsible if it does not.
You can. You really can. No, it looks like I said, it looks phenomenal. Of course, it's a Mana game. Yeah, don't expect anything else other than a Mana game. But yeah, it feels like they have kept this magic of what made the original games way back in the days so special, and just ported it over into a modern day era. I like the art style they've chosen. It looks colorful, kind of cell shaded look to it. I cannot wait, man. I'm looking forward to hear your thoughts if it's your first Mana game. I might be a little bit biased because of all the nostalgia, but very, very cool surprise. Do you think it's going to come to Game Pass?
No. No. It's the first. It's also their first release of the Mana series on Xbox in general. So no, I don't think they will.
I mean, with Octopath Traveler, Square did bring a game directly into Game Pass. So it wouldn't be a first.
Just a little thing that I want to add to the Hellblade thing from before, because there is some news on that. The game is releasing for $50.
Not a full-priced game.
No, it's going to be similar in terms of length as the first game.
Okay.
And it's $50 and digital only.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Digital only. That will be very interesting to see what the reactions will be online, because I don't care. I haven't bought a physical game since the 360 days. I'm an all digital guy. I couldn't care less. But whenever there is something like, okay, this is going to be digital only. You remember the discourse we had when we had the leaks in October last year, the big Xbox leaks, and it looks like the Xbox Series X Slim is going to also be digital only. Everyone was like, there was an outcry. Oh, how can they let the physical media die? But this is interesting, man. I would have thought like, okay, Hellblade is the, like one of their big AAA, almost system seller level kind of games. You would have released it as a full-priced game, and of course release a boxed version. And very interesting. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, specifically the pricing. They could have very easily put that out as a $70 game. I'm very surprised they put it out as a $50 game.
Yeah.
So hats off to them. Obviously, they know physical-wise, there's not much there for it. There's obviously going to be some people that want a physical copy of Hellblade 2. Naturally, I would have loved to have one just to put up somewhere, but I don't even remember them releasing a physical version of Hellblade 1, to be fair. So if this is the start of us seeing lower pricing on games that are, because they're digital only, then I'm all for it.
Interesting.
We've said before, we don't understand why there's the higher price on digital when physical requires physical distribution. So if this is the start of that process where we see the knock-on effect of not having a physical release is significantly lower pricing, then let's go.
And what do you think about this? I'm seeing the tweets right now. Similar in length to the first Hellblade. BGC label, the first one, at about 8 hours. I remember it being a little longer than that.
It's longer.
It's 12
longer.
to
People,
15.
it's 8 hours if you rush it. It's 8 hours if you rush it and things like that. It's if you're actually just sitting there and taking your time and not trying to achievement hunt and not trying to like ram it down as quickly as possible, it's going to take you probably about 10, 11 hours.
Yeah. That's so. What do you think? About the length?
Yeah, length's fine. Length's fine. I enjoyed the length of the first one. I thought the story pacing was good in the first one, and sometimes you don't want to outstay your welcome. If the story's told well enough,
That's
that
totally
time frame
fine.
will feel fantastic.
I agree, especially with such a tense game like Hellblade. With the binaural audio and the psychosis and everything. It is a very intense game, and it doesn't need to overstay its welcome. So fine with the length. Absolutely looking forward to it, man. All right, let us move on from Hellblade again to Ara real quick.
Yeah. Really quick. Don't wanna,
I want to talk about indie, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think about Ara?
It looks like an absolute time sink. It looks like it's heavily detailed, and based on the mechanics, it would be highly difficult to port that to console.
Yeah, I agree. They've shown a lot of very deep system menus. I like the idea of a turn-based strategy game where everyone does their move at the same time.
Yeah,
that's a cool idea. Obviously, like you said, it's going to be a time sink. It's going to be a game where you probably have to invest a lot of time to be able to play it right, with very deep systems, complex mechanics. So yeah, but very interesting to see. But I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to invest that much time in it, because it feels like really you need to probably play 20 hours before you really understand how this game actually works. At least not 100% sure, and I'm obviously a big strategy fan. So looks interesting though. Anything you wanted to add before we move to Indie Man?
No, other than the Avowed image that we saw at the end is in fact the box art. It is the key art for it, which is fantastic. I'm happy with that. Good.
All right. We got that out of the way. Let us talk about Indiana Jones. Without fact checking, it felt like it got the most time during the developer direct. It was a very close look we got. A lot of gameplay segments in there, a lot of explanation on what they wanted to achieve with the indie game. Todd Howard spoke about it and his vision for the game. And indie looks like indie is supposed to look, right? It's Harrison Ford's face that they got, which is really cool to see. So, and yeah, for the most part, it's going to be first person, like they said, only in like climbing sequences and other and cutscenes and so on. You switch to the third person mode. But the main gameplay is going to be first person for immersion reasons, basically, is what they explained. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it looks. I mean, when it showed first person, at first I was like, I don't know, because we can't see indie, we can't see him. Like that's the whole point in indie. But then they said for any movements, any kind of big action sequences, anything like that, any cutscenes, like everything is zoomed out. See indie in all the flesh. When you're traversing certain things, you can see him, and so that kind of allayed that to a point, and then it made okay. If it's just for combat and puzzle solving in first person, that makes sense. That makes complete sense because then it allows you to kind of do things. You don't want to be like doing third-person puzzle solving because you can't really look at the puzzle very well then. But it looks absolutely fantastic. I can live with the first-person, third-person thing.
Yeah, I mean, we both said we expected a Tomb Raider-esque kind of game experience, and it looks like that's not what it is. That's totally fine with me because, pardon me, what they've shown looked phenomenal. It looked just very different than what we probably all had in our head. It looks like a machine game, you know, the makers of Wolfenstein, and it looks like a very linear game. I don't think that there will be any like open hub areas or anything. It's in that sense probably a little bit better compared to Uncharted, which also didn't have like these hub areas with side quests and everything. I know in Uncharted 4 you had a little bit of open areas in certain parts, but not comparable to what Tomb Raider had to offer. So looks like a very linear game, which is totally cool. I love that. I want that, you know, epic action adventure storytelling and just move from set piece to set piece and see action sequence to action sequence, solve some riddles, be indie. And I think what they really nailed is they captured that essence of an Indiana Jones. I also like the timeline where they settled it in, you know. It's not a prequel story, an origin story or something. That's not the case. It's also not after the original trilogy. It's like right in the middle, and that's super cool. The aesthetics really mimic exactly what makes indie so great. Like they nailed the art style, they nailed the feeling, the music. It just feels like a true Indiana Jones experience. And I loved everything I've seen, even though it was a little bit different. I was hoping for third person, but I really don't mind that it's first person, because at the very end of the day, I'd rather leave that choice up to the developer than to the player, because they need to deliver a good playing and a fun game. And it is exactly that, what they try to do. And they've shown a little bit of the combat with the whip, with the pistols, with the knuckles, you know. They even get bloody. They mentioned that. Love such little details when you're in a fist fight. They also said, okay, there's always like multiple ways to approach a certain scene. You can do just waltz in and shoot and swing with the whip and everything, or you can try to stealth your way around, and like giving you creative options like that. I really enjoyed what I've seen. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it looks absolutely like graphically, it looks fantastic. Storytelling looks like it's going to be absolutely great. They've got the over-the-top action sequences that we wanted from the game. Like I say, I'm going to learn to live with the first-person, third-person hybrid. I like the way they've done that. Of course, ideally, we would have loved to have just been third-person, but I think the way they've implemented it, from a development standpoint, is the best of both worlds. We still get to see Indy when he's traversing certain sections, and in cutscenes, and in action sequences, and things like that. So I think it's the best of both worlds. But like I say, graphically, the character design is unbelievable. Like it is Harrison Ford. Like so well done. The voice acting's very similar. I think it's Troy Baker that's doing it again. So he's got a really
Not sure if that's Troy, but it obviously isn't Harrison Ford.
But it's very similar. It's similar.
Very similar. It fits. It fits. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't come across like
out of place.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and in terms of visuals, graphics, they're I'm a little mixed. For the most part, it looks great.
Yeah.
Then some of the especially the character facial
It's the
animations.
Machine Games faces.
Yeah, it's Machine Games faces. Yeah, it looks like when you compare it to the great environments and lighting and everything. But overall, it looks phenomenal. Beautiful art style, great lighting effects in there. It could very well be that this is an id Engine game. It does have this look to it that we are used to from the id Engine, which would be awesome because that means that we will probably play that at least at 60. So yeah, no, from a technical point of view, it looks really, really good. And I think the most important part is that they capture that essence, what makes Indiana Jones. And I think they absolutely nailed that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it looks fantastic. Like you say, it captures the essence, the storytelling, the introduction where they've got him in the sand and the Nazis are standing above him and like interrogating him. Like that all just feels like it felt like an Indiana Jones intro. So yeah, hats off to them. It looks and feels fantastic, and I cannot wait to jump into this game. I really can't. It's going to be insane.
Absolutely. And they've shown, what's just on screen right now, some of these, over-the-top action sequences where you jump from one plane to another, something like that. They've done these kind of things so well in the Wolfenstein games, and so I expect that to be in there as well. No, I don't know what else to say. It's a really, really good capture of indie and what makes indie so good. No date though. They only said
no
24.
No date, but coming 2024. They've reiterated that on the socials as well. They've said coming 2024 on everything. So
they said what on everything? Do we have this discussion
on
again?
all the socials? On all the socials, they've said it's coming in 2024.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. 24. We expected that, otherwise they wouldn't have shown it there. But obviously that's then definitely not a first half of the year game. It's second half. It's probably their big holiday game, I would assume. Dutch, anything you want to add to Indiana Jones?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, overall, again, I really, really liked the showcase for Developer Direct. They delivered an insane great value. Like every game they've shown looked great in its own. Avowed looked stunning. Hellblade, obviously. Even Ara was good. Visions of Mana was a surprise. And looks really like a good Mana game. And then Indiana Jones, absolutely fantastic. I don't mind the first person. It's cool. What does it say? If you hold it into the... Oh, you can pre-download it. Oh, already. Very good.
Download to console.
All right. I'm going to do that in parallel. But first, Dutch, closing thoughts on this Developer Direct.
Yeah. Fantastic. Loved it. Exactly what they said on the tin. I wasn't expecting to see Visions of Mana. I thought it was a little bit out of place, although I can kind of understand it with it being the first time it's ever been on the console, the series itself. So yeah. Overall, though, yeah, fantastic. Avowed looks fantastic. Hellblade looks fantastic, and we got a date. Indiana Jones looks really, really impressive. And the only shame I think is that we didn't get more firm dates for Avowed and Indiana. But I got my Hellblade release date, so I'm super happy. What about you?
Absolutely.
What were your thoughts? Final thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, obviously, the only surprise, quote unquote, was Visions of Mana, which was a great surprise to see. Not just a game that I'm really looking forward to, but also to really see. Obviously, they are serious about their renewed relationship with Square, which I'm glad to see, because overall Square makes great games. Yeah, Octopath has been awesome. Obviously, the Final Fantasy games are great. So I'm excited to see that they are serious about having a better relationship and publish their games on Xbox, and to see them attach Vision of Mana really to the name or the Xbox brand is a great sign. Very great sign. So that was really cool. Avowed continues to look great. Visually very much improved. I know it's going to be absolutely a blast to play from Obsidian. Like it's got this Obsidian DNA. It looks phenomenal. Can't wait to dive into this game. Hellblade looks great as always when we've seen, but yeah, it's only 4 months from now, and we're gonna be finally able to play it. Then Indiana Jones from Machine Games. It's gonna be probably the holiday game, the big holiday game this year, and for them, and it looks exactly what we always wanted. We wanted Xbox to deliver those single player experiences that are a little bit more cinematic, that deliver great storytelling in a mature setting. And Indiana Jones is perfect. I love Indiana Jones, and what they've shown looks absolutely stunning. I love that they put in Harrison Ford's face. I love that they didn't go the obvious route and just make another Uncharted game, but to make it something else.
Yeah.
It's a machine game, and I know there will be tons of people out there complaining about it not being third person, but at the very end of the day, I want the developer to do exactly what they have in mind and to deliver a great vision. And if their vision is to make it first person, so be it. It's not that first person games are not fun. That's just fact. There are tons of awesome first person games out there, and this is looking like one hell of a blast to play. It's got the art style, the tone right, it's got the humor in there, it's got the action in there, and so overall I'm super happy with what Xbox delivered here. It's a very, very great way to start the year 2024, which is going to be a massive year for them. If that is all that they delivered this year, it's already an insanely good year with at least 3 major AAA games, a couple of smaller games or not that shiny, kind of games. There's still plenty of more games coming that weren't in this developer direct, with Towerborn and Flintlock, and of course Flight Sim. And then we have Stalker 2, which is also going to be... if that is all we know, but it's only January, Dutch.
And even Phil Spencer put a post on before. Actually, I'll go on to it so I can kind of see what he said. But he again said some of the games that we're seeing this year. Yeah, he said, thanks to the teams and the studios for their work on the show today. It's always fun to get the highlight of some of what's coming in the next year. I really like the format of Developer Direct. Shows creators showing their games. Nice way to start 2024. Some of the games.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a fantastic mixture that we get this year. Lots of first-party games. Again, there will also be like Call of Duty. I don't know whether people will count that as a first-party or not. Doesn't matter. We have Avowed, Hellblade, Indie, all first-party. Then you mix in second-party games like Stalker and so on. And of course, there's a lot of awesome third-party games coming as well. So this is going to be one hell of a year for Xbox. We will probably see one or two games that we don't know of just yet, and get one or two other surprises along the year. And it was a phenomenal way to kick off the year, get us excited, get us hyped, be transparent, and show actual gameplay. So yeah, man, I'm happy. I'm really happy with what I've seen.
Yeah, same.
All right, Dutch.
What a start! What a start to 2024, eh?
Indeed. And I think that brings us to the end of this show. I want to say a big thank you to this awesome community that hung out with us here to watch the Developer Direct, to discuss it. I know there's a lot of program out there. Almost everyone who does content obviously covers these things live, so it means a lot that you chose to stay here with us and listen to us and discuss it with this awesome community. You guys are awesome. I hope you enjoyed it too. Also, of course, for the audio listeners, you probably have to skip the middle part where we just streamed the show on the Spotify. But if you made it to the end of this podcast, absolutely thank you to you too. Dutch, let everyone know where they can find you, what you've coming up, what you've been planning, man.
Indeed. So other than our general podcast, which may or may not be Wednesday next week, it might be a dual stream with Boxy again, depending on what people are doing. On Thursday, so it'll be Wednesday or Thursday, we'll do the podcast again next week. Other than that, gameplay streams, focusing on finishing Final Fantasy 16 before Rebirth comes out. Of course, we need to get that boxed off and done. And I'm going to be checking out Pal World as well, because Pal World releases tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a stream on Pal World tomorrow. Check it out. Check out the games out. It's Pokemon Guns. It's crazy. It's up to 32 players co-op. So
yeah, I've seen a lot of people being super excited. I'm not really a Pokemon guy. So yeah. I'm not sure about that because I have so many other games to play right now. I want to finish RoboCop. I have already bought Prince of Persia. Can't wait to dive into that. So I'm not sure about Pal World, but maybe I'm just going to check it out and see what all the fuss is about. So who knows?
Yeah.
The weekend is near.
It is near. It is just tomorrow.
Yes.
Starts the weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing anyway. That's where everybody can find me.
Sweet.
What about you?
Good. Yeah, I'll be at the usual places, of course, playing a lot of games. You can find me on Xbox, PlayStation, everywhere, under Boxenberger, and of course, I'll be on the streets of the socials and on Discord. And yeah, other than that, Dutch, we will be back, obviously, with a World of Gaming, maybe with a midweek mix-up next week. But yeah, guys, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the Developer Direct as much as we did. And I hope even more you enjoy the games you're playing right now. So yeah, we'll see you next week. And don't forget to game on.